Mexican lager's all the rage in the homebrew community at the moment, so I thought I'd try my hand at making my own, but can I make one in 10 days? What's up guys, it's Aki from Metal Mutt Homebrew. Welcome back to another full grain to glass video. This one, I'm brewing a Mexican lager. Now, I know they're all over the internet at the moment. Pretty much all of the homebrew channels are brewing them, and to be honest, that's why I ended up doing it. I watched the Malt Millers video, and I really liked what they'd produced. It looked great, so full disclosure, I basically took their recipe and tweaked it for my own system for this one. So for me, Mexican lagers in the UK, there's a sort of two easiest to get hold of is going to be Corona and your Modelo. They're kind of similar, but I think the Corona leans more into the macro world of really crisp, really easy to drink, and not necessarily that full of flavour. They're just there to give you that sort of lager hit on a really hot day. I don't drink a great deal of Corona, but I don't mind the odd one here and there. Modelo, I think, for me personally, there's not a great deal of flavour in that either, but there's a little bit more malt depth, it's a little bit darker in colour, and maybe not quite as crisp. Both alright beers, nothing wrong with them. I think the beauty of them is just on that hot day, just a really easy to drink. So I thought, fuck it, I'll try and brew my own, see what I can get out of it. But I wanted a little bit of a twist in there. I wanted to try and brew it within 10 days to get it ready. So, for example, you've got a barbecue coming up and you think, oh, I've got a load of macro drinking mates coming around. I want to get something on tap quick that's refreshing and easy to drink that they would enjoy. So that's exactly what I did. I've also tried out WHC's new Mexican lager yeast. I wanted to see how that performed under pressure, so that realistically the only way I can turn this beer around in 10 days is to use pressure fermentation. So that's exactly what we've done. So anyway, let's get into it. As always, we'll talk about the water first. So I've started with reverse osmosis water from Spotless, so zeros across the board to build my water profile from. I've gone for one of the presets on Brewfather, or a similar one to one that's on Brewfather, which is fairly low across the board, but it leans more into the sulfate than the chloride. So as you can see, we've got 100 parts per million of sulfate to 50 of chloride. What that should do is just assist with that crisp, clean, sort of dry drinkability, because I'm going more on the sort of Corona side than I am Modelo for this one. So I want it to be really crisp, really refreshing, and just easy to drink on a hot day. On to the recipe itself then. So this one's fairly simple. I've only got 3 malts in there, and as I said, I basically nicked this from the Malt Miller. I'm not going to beat around the bush. What they produced looked really nice, so I've just tweaked it for my own system and maybe chopped and changed some of the brands as such in terms of the grain. But other than that, it's basically what they did because it looked lovely. So I've gone for 78.6% of Euro Pils malt from crisp, but any sort of Pilsner or lager malt will do for that. You just want something that's going to produce a nice clean and crisp beer at the end of it. I've then got 15.5% of flaked torrefied maize. Maize is very sort of traditional. It's part of the character of a Mexican lager. I think you really do need that maize in there to make it sort of Mexican as such. And finally, I wanted a little bit more colour in there, a little bit more malt depth. So I've added 6% of light Munich malt. And that is about it for the grains. There's nothing else there. It's not fancy. It's pretty simple. And it should just produce that nice clean base with a tiny bit of malt character from the Munich. As you can sort of see from the videos there, the mash on this is looking pretty good. It's all flowing nicely and I've got no real concerns here. And we are mashing at 65 degrees Celsius. Again, mega simple sort of cookie cutter mash temperature as it's often known. Slap bang in the middle. That should give us a nice dry and drinkable beer, but without leaning too far into that dryness that we sort of lose any body or anything else. So 65 degrees C seems perfect for me. You can maybe drop to 64 and get it slightly drier, but I honestly don't think that's strictly necessary here. All right, the mash is now complete. So as you can see, I've raised the grain basket and started my sparge in the normal way, steadily with a jug of water just to rinse off all of those excess sugars. While I'm doing that, I'll do some cleaning and start heating up towards the boil. And that leads me nicely to talking about the hops. There's only 2 hop additions in this. At the 60-minute mark, so right at the start of the boil, we're adding 10 grams of Hallertau Magnum, which should give me around 16 IBUs. That's sort of their only purpose here, is just to get the bitterness really. Nothing else other than that. And then the next addition is going to be at the 5-minute mark. So 5 minutes left of the boil. I've added in Motueka. That is because of the Malt Miller video. Motueka is well known for that sort of limey character it can produce. And I think that lime goes beautifully with Mexican lager, as most people do. It's why Corona is often served with a slice of lime. I didn't want to do it with just a slice of lime on the side. I wanted to experiment with the Motueka hops. I know the Malt Millers turned out nicely, so that was my thought process there. And I'm hoping that this turns out exactly the same, with a nice hint of lime character at the end that's not overpowering, but it's noticeably sort of Mexican limey, which I think would be great on a hot summer's day. Right, so we've got the boil complete, we've got it all chilled down, and we've transferred this into the fermenter. So now's the perfect time to talk about yeast and fermentation. So I wanted to try WHC's new yeast, Cerveza Campeon, which is supposedly a real Mexican lager yeast. It should make a nice, dry, crisp, clean beer, and hopefully accentuate any of those sort of limey character we get out of the Motueka. I've not seen anyone use it under pressure yet, and that's something that I wanted to try, because as I said, I want to turn this beer around fast. That is the whole point in this for me. So that's exactly what we've done. I'm fermenting this at 20 degrees Celsius and under 10 psi from the get-go. So I've pitched the yeast and immediately pressurized to 10 psi, and I'm going to let this thing ride out at that pressure. Once the fermentation's done, I'm going to cold crush it, I'm going to package it, and we'll see how it comes out. So the fermentation went really quickly on this one. I was down at final gravity within a couple of days. So it's obviously worked beautifully under pressure. I've had a little sample of it and it's tasting crisp and clean. So I've not had any issues with that yeast working under pressure. It's done exactly what I expected. What I am going to add is a little bit of brewzilla just to clear this up a little bit, because it'll take a bit too long for me. I want to get this drinking, as I say, in 10 days. So we'll add some brewzilla to clear it up, and then we'll come back and have a look. Right, the final product then. And full disclosure, I finally figured out why I've been having such issues with my mash temperature, and it's because the temperature sensor on my BrewZilla was on its way out. I found out the hard way on this brew day. Luckily, it didn't fail until about halfway through, so I've got away with it. But at one point it was reading 10 degrees too hot, 10 degrees too low, and my actual mash bed got down to about 60 degrees C, maybe even 59. But thankfully I was measuring it all the way through, and the first 20-30 minutes were at the intended mash temperature. So we have got away with it. However, it's probably slightly thinner than it should have been for that last sort of half of the mash where it was too cold. But as I say, it's come out reasonable. I'm quite happy. It could have gone a lot worse. So let's get into the beer then. As you saw in the footage, it's still got a bit of haze on it, but this is 9 days old. As I say, the point in this video was to see how quickly we could turn around the lager. So with all of the hot weather and that, I thought, fuck it, let's see how quickly we can turn around the lager for a barbecue and get it drinking. So you can see it's almost there, a little bit longer. I have put finings in this, a bit of brewzilla, so it will clear up really nicely in the next few days, I would have thought. 2-3 weeks, it'll probably be crystal clear, this, but for 9 days, I'm pretty happy with that. The head sticks around a good while, and it looks apart. On the nose, it's got like a slight, like a coronary type smell, really, like a sort of maizy, grainy kind of smell. It's not strong, it's very, very neutral, really. You can't smell a great deal on there. There's a tiny, tiny hint of lime, which is going to come from the Motueka, but it's probably barely noticeable. So mouthfeels work. It's meant to be crisp, it's meant to be dry, it's a lager. With the mash temperature, it's ever so slightly thinner than it should be, but because it's meant to be a thin, really light, crisp lager anyway, being a Mexican lager, I've got away with it. It's not a problem. It's not something you'd notice and go, oh, that's a problem, there's an issue there. It's absolutely fine. And the flavour, it's what you'd expect. Like, for me, I find the Mexican lagers, like mainly Corona, they don't really taste of a great deal, in all honesty. There's a tiny bit of malt character there, but very, very little. It's grainy. It's there, but not that noticeable. The main thing that comes through in this is the Motueka. It's actually worked really, really nicely. It's not overpowering. It's not mega in your face or anything. It's a very subtle little lime character at the end, which makes it really nice to drink. I'm gonna say it's a Mexican lager, and for me, I find a lot of them a little bit boring, to be quite honest. But that being said, that is the perfect barbecue beer. I've turned it around in less than 2 weeks. It's a sort of beer you could easily have your mates around if they're not mega craft beer drinkers or anything like that. If you just like a bit of a lager every now and then, that would get absolutely rinsed around the barbecue. It's really easy to drink. It's only 4.5%. It's crisp, it's clean. And that WHC yeast has worked really nicely. It's super clean. It's worked really nicely under pressure. I'd happily use that again. And I think if I was to brew this again, I might add a little bit more Munich malt just to get a little bit more flavour to it. And equally, I think I might up the mash temperature slightly as well, because I think it could do with a bit more body. I know that's probably not necessarily to style, but it's just the way I would do it. But other than that, I think that's worked quite well. I wouldn't add any more Motueka because I think it's limey enough there. It's just a hint of it, and I think that's perfect. Yeah, I think it's a little bit more Munich, maybe. Yeah, and that's about all I've got to say on it, really. It's not going to set your pants on fire, but it is a nice beer. Easy to drink, so I'm quite happy with that, especially with the issues with the mash sensor. That's fixed now. I've got a new one, so hopefully we'll have no more problems. Right, so you saw the tasting notes at 10 days. I wanted to get that done at 10 days just to be authentic because I said I was going to turn this around in 10 days, so that's exactly what I did. However, within 2-3 weeks, this beer was even better. It was super clear, the browser had done its job, and a little bit of lager and thyme had just crisped it all up and accentuated that lime character. And to be honest, this was actually a really lovely, easy drinking beer. It wasn't the world's most exciting, but that lime character came through beautifully, and it was just really refreshing, really dry and crisp on a hot day, because we've had some unseasonably hot weather recently. And I gave this to a few mates who only really drink macro lager or cider, and they were mega impressed with it. They really enjoyed it and went back for a few more pints. So I think I've achieved my goal here. I've turned around a lager in 10 days that's got Mexican character with plenty of lime and is actually a pretty decent recipe, so please feel free to give that a go if you want. If you enjoyed that, please give it a like, consider subscribing, and feel free to check out my back catalogue of other videos. Cheers.